Yeah.
That's a good question. Yeah. I guess professional life, I'm enjoying playing baseball more than I have in a long time. Um, I've always been very serious and like focused on like being the absolute best that I can be. And I think a lot of times I let the fun kind of slip out of it. But being here in Mexico, I've found a good way to blend the seriousness with the fun of it. And that's been really refreshing to me. And that's one of the things that I've learned from the guys here is everyone seems to have a lot of fun. They go out there, they play hard and they want to win, but they have fun doing it. And that's not something I've been good at in my career. And I think I've gotten a lot better at it over the last couple months.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon.
Gracias, Ada. Adelante, Héctor.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. Preguntarte, Trevor, un récord importante el que se consigue, pero detrás de ello ha habido mucho trabajo. ¿Qué tan importante ha sido el apoyo de tus compañeros y obviamente de la directiva de los Diablos Rojos que te han llevado a conseguir estos logros en esta temporada que llevas en la Liga Mexicana de Béisbol?
The question is about the support you have received from your teammates and also from Santiago and Jorge del Valle and everybody in Diablos Rojos.
Yeah, I mean, the fan support has been great. The organization support's been great, and the teammate support's been great. I have nothing negative to say. It's been very refreshing for me to have people be so welcoming and so open to the things that I enjoy doing and finding ways to collaborate. Yeah, I can't say enough good things. I mean, the accommodations, the ballpark's great. Everything about the experience has been awesome so far.
Thank you.
Adelante, Mario Castro.
Hi, Trevor. How are you?
Well, how are you?
Everything is okay. Well, I want to ask you about, I don't know if you remember, but after the game with Yankees, I asked you about if you want to become a legend in Diablos. I think you are now a legend with Diablos. How do you feel with that? And what do you think about of your future here in Diablos? Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple days. You know, I kind of push myself, or like what motivates me is to be the best at what I do for whatever reason. I just want to be the best, and I don't know that I've ever set like a true record where I own it completely. I'm the only one, so it's been a very special couple days. I guess if that makes me a legend, then then it makes me a legend. I don't know if I consider myself a legend or not, but yeah, it's been a cool couple days anyway. And as far as my future with the Diablos, like I love the organization and love the team. Right now I'm focused on winning a championship. I think that's what we all the players sign up to do in the beginning of the season. You know, team is about more than just one player. And so I think that's where the focus needs to be, is on winning that championship and then figure the rest out afterwards.
Thank you so much.
Gracias. Adelante, Héctor Mesa.
¿Ahí me escuchas, Mike?
Fuerte y claro, señor.
Ok, gracias, Mike. Hoy saludos, Trevor. Bueno, si me puedes hablar de las diferencias que has encontrado en el béisbol de Oriente de Japón con Liga Mexicana. Y una segunda pregunta, si me permiten, la gente en la Liga de Invierno de nuestro país quiere verle lanzar después de lo que está haciendo en Diablos. ¿Qué nos puede responder?
The question is about the main difference between Japan baseball, Asian baseball, and Mexican baseball, and about being able to pitch in the Winter League in Mexico.
As far as the Winter League goes, I'm not sure yet. Like I gotta finish out this season. I want to focus on winning a championship here, and then I'll figure out what I do after that. So, not making any decisions on that at the current time. As far as the differences between Japanese baseball, Mexican baseball, and baseball in the United States, baseball in the United States it's a power game. It's throw the ball hard, hit the ball far, hit for power. Don't really care about average as much. It's doubles and homers as a hitter, and it's strikeouts and velocity as a pitcher. There's not much like small ball anymore. Not many hit and runs, not many bunts, stuff like that. In Japan, it's a speed game. It's steal. It's, hit the ball on the ground on the infield and beat it out to first. So it's, pitchers don't throw it quite as hard as a whole, but it's command, it's moving the ball, it's reading the hitters. And in Mexico, it's kind of a nice blend of both. There's power for sure, but there's guys in every lineup that are going to play small ball. They're going to lay down a bunt. They're going to hit the ball the other way through a shift or hit and run. There's pitchers that throw hard, but there's also pitchers that move the ball and, you know, throw slow. I've seen guys throw like 50-mile-an-hour pitches just to mess with hitters' timing. So it's a nice blend of the power game and the speed game, and you kind of get aspects of all of it, which makes it challenging because you can't just prepare for one type of lineup.
Gracias, Héctor. Adelante, Darío.
Hi, Trevor. If you can hear me there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi. After you had this record on, with your name on it, I want to ask you about, well, if you feel very comfortable here in Mexico and the difference with the MLB mostly, and if you miss the MLB or you feel very, very, very nice here, if you like this country in your states. Thank you.
No, I've enjoyed my time here in Mexico for sure. The Diablos organization, the fans, the baseball, like it's all been great, but I've enjoyed getting out and seeing the country too. It's a beautiful country. I like the beaches, getting to drive between cities is cool because you get to see some of the landscape and the mountains and things that make, Mexico unique. I've never actually seen like an active volcano, and I get to see one every day. So that part's been great. As far as like missing MLB or not, I don't miss it or not miss it really. Like I'd like to go back and play there. There's things that I still want to accomplish in my career that that I've not been able to accomplish yet. But really what I enjoy is trying to grow the game of baseball, making content, making the game more accessible to young fans, and trying to give people, young kids and their parents, the opportunity to bond with each other through baseball the same way that I was able to bond with my parents through baseball. So as long as I'm able to do that, I'll be happy playing wherever I'm at.
Thank you. Gracias. Emanuel, adelante.
Gracias, Mike. Hey, Trevor. My question is, I think everyone here know the Japan, the level of the Japan League is higher to the Mexican than Mexican Baseball League, but and maybe the pay it's too. But can you tell me about the impact they have your performance here in Mexico? If you compare it with Japan, I mean, it's about the proximity with the states, the maybe of the schedule of the games. It's a great time for being in the states the games. Can you tell me about this impact? Maybe it's higher here in Mexico than your performance in Japan the last year.
Yeah, I think the Japanese league, I think, is more even. Like the difference between the best team and the worst team is a little bit narrower. I think the difference between the best team here in Mexico and the worst team is a little bit wider than it is in Japan. I think if you took this year's Diablos team and put us in the Japanese league, we'd be very competitive. I don't know if we'd win the whole thing or not, but I think we'd be a very competitive team. So I think there's more teams here in Mexico too. There's 12 teams in Japan. I think there's 20 this year here in Mexico. So the talent gets spread out a little bit thinner. But I mean, the leagues are comparable. The level here is very good. I'd say anywhere between a AA and a AAA level in the States, depending on the team. But I think if you put our Diablos team in a AAA league, I think we'd have a very good chance of winning the league. So it's a high level baseball for sure.
Adelante, Fernando.
Gracias, Mike. Hi, Trevor. Fernando Villa from ESPN. What do you think is the greatest impact of the records and numbers you have both in Diablos and in the league? I mean, how is the impact with your teammates also? Because I saw your videos and you talk a lot with Ronnie, with Anraku, for example. You gave some advices. So what is the impact you have in the rotation, in the bullpen, and in the league with these numbers? Thanks.
Yeah, I think, to talk about the impact I have on teammates is really something that, they would have to answer. On my end, I try to offer as much information as I can. If guys have questions, I try to answer it as best I can. I try to help. I try to, see different perspectives with my, with my history in baseball, my experience. Sometimes I see things that younger guys don't, and I try to talk to them. But whether they get something out of that or not is really a question for them. I just try to be a resource if I can. As far as the records in Mexico, I mean, my hope is that it inspires young people to play baseball, and maybe they try to break my records at some point, and it gives them a goal to chase, or just gets them into baseball. Obviously there's a long history of baseball here in Mexico, many great Mexican players that kids can look up to, and hopefully I'm someone that kids in Mexico can look up to as well, and try to be like.
Nos iríamos rápido con 3 preguntas más, por favor. Juan Carlos Torres.
Hi, Trevor. 2 questions. What is the difference in your start against Bravos de León in April and this last game against Oaxaca? Because it looks that you was going to break the record of more strikeouts in that game against Bravos in April. And how do you see the level of the young Mexican pitchers that Diablos have debuted in this season? Because something that they have to work to go to the big leagues.
Yeah, so I think the main difference is, my second start when I struck out 14, I was on a pitch count. I only had 85 pitches available, and I threw all of those. I struck out 14 through 6 in this most recent start as well. I just had 30 more pitches to throw, or 40 more pitches, and so I was able to get those last couple innings. But very similar games overall. And as far as the level of the young Mexican pitchers, I think it's great. I had a chance to go to the academy, the Diablos Academy, and see some of those guys and watch them face, pitch against Eric Sim, who I know very well, and I know what kind of hitter he is, and they diced him up pretty well. So the level is good, and I hope that the amount of foreign players that are in the league now doesn't take jobs away from the young Mexican players, and I hope they still have a place to develop, because there's been a lot of great Mexican players in the big leagues, and I hope that pipeline continues and only gets better. So I think that's something that we should be looking at as the league. Like the young Mexican players need a place to play and develop, and hopefully that can be the case.
Gracias. Jorge Alcaraz, adelante.
Gracias, Mike. Trevor, hi. You have the record. You have congratulations. Did you have in your last games more than 100 pitches? Did you plan to have a shorter outings, shorter games for you, thinking about the upcoming postseason?
Yeah, if it was up to me, I'd throw 9 innings every game, regardless of pitch count. So I think that's one of the reasons we have managers and pitching coaches, to make sure that I don't do that. I asked Lorenzo to leave me in, to allow me to get the records, and he was, I'm very fortunate that he was willing to do that. So I told him that whatever he wants the rest of the way, I'm good with it. So we'll see what he has planned for me.
Thank you. Irving, adelante.
Gracias, Mike. Buenas tardes a todos. Trevor, congrats for that 19K record. And we all know that you are a pitcher. You like records. You are pitching for them. And I want to ask you if you have something in your mind. What are you looking for in your next starts, talking about records?
Yeah, I mean, I love my strikeouts. So getting the strikeout record was the main one that I was going after. Personally, I'd like to win the Triple Crown. So I know that's been done before, but it hasn't been done in a while. So I'm going after that. I'd like to set the Diablos franchise record for season ERA. I think I have a shot at that. But really, on the team side, it's the championship. I want to win. I've never won like a championship in my career. I won a couple in the minor leagues, and it was a great experience, but not in like the big leagues of any of the leagues. So I want to win. So that's really where my focus is as far as the team goes.
Trevor, is okay, a couple of questions, more questions? Yeah, okay, gracias, thank you. Sarai, adelante.
Buenas tardes para todos. Mike, no sé si me podrías ayudar. La pregunta que tengo para Trevor es, ¿qué pasaba por tu mente cuando te dijeron que estabas a 2?
Se cortó, Saraí no se escucha. Saraí. Ok, creo que tenemos un problema. We have troubles. Ok, mientras, Leif, adelante.
Gracias, Miguel. Trevor, you mentioned the difference in altitude between Mexico City and some of the other places. Can you just tell us a little bit about whether you change your approach to pitching between the two altitudes? Because 7,300 feet is a lot different than, say, Yucatan, where you're like 100 feet above sea level.
Yeah, so there's a lot of gradient actually in this league. It's not just high or low. There's 3,000 feet, 5,000 feet, 6,500 feet, 7,500. So it's always changing. The biggest difference is the extremes, of course. So Mexico City to somewhere like Veracruz or Yucatan. At sea level, my fastball has 18 inches of vertical movement, let's say at 96. That's enough to throw it and get above someone's barrel and get a lot of pop flies. In Mexico City, it's got 13, 12, 14, somewhere in that range. So it's more of like a average fastball. And so I end up on the barrel a lot more. So I have to use my fastball a little bit more as like an off-speed pitch. So I use my off-speed pitches as the primary offering, and then I use the fastball velocity to keep people off of it instead of the fastball movement. Also, I don't have the ability to throw my two-seam really at altitude because there's no air for the two seams to grab on, so it doesn't move nearly as much, and it's inconsistent movement at best. Whereas at sea level, I can use my two-seam a lot more. So that's a big weapon that I use to lefties and righties too for freeze strikeouts. Those are two of the changes. And I have to figure that out in the bullpen because if I'm at 2,000 feet, sometimes the ball moves, sometimes it doesn't. 5,000 feet, I kind of have to figure it out in the bullpen before the game, what pitches I'm gonna be able to use, which obviously changes the scouting report and the strategy going into the game. But I think I've done a decent job so far at reading hitters' swings and having the weapons in my arsenal to be able to exploit that regardless of the altitude.
Thank you, Trevor. I just have one question about the chocolate. You received yesterday the 19K chocolate from Don Alfredo Harp. What do you think about that gift?
Well, one, the chocolate's delicious. It's a great gift. I was really impressed with how quickly they turned that around. That was like 24 hours later, and they had the wrapping and everything. It was very special. There's been there's some posters that they had made that are very, very cool that I signed some of them, and I'm hoping to get a couple of those framed for myself because they're awesome. The turnaround time on getting merchandise and posters and chocolates and everything like that out to celebrate the moment's been incredible, and I really appreciate all of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. You need to rest. I need you want some sleep. Thank you, Trevor, once again, and have a good trip to Querétaro. We'll see you here on Friday.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Trevor. Good night. Good afternoon.